Yeah, can I get a three wise with onions and give me some extra ketchup?
You want onions on
Yeah, extra onions.
Okay, so onions on.
Yeah, the three wise.
Yes, alright.
You're listening to Three Wise Radio, a podcast where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, technology, the internet, and pretty much everything else media related. My name is Joe Greller. I'm joined as usual by Garret Welker and Sam Pixley. How are you this week, guys?
Doing good. I was a little sick this week, but I'm feeling better now. So
You sound just beautiful.
I don't think I do.
Garrett was sick and I was busy at work, so he was unable to come over and play Injustice so far, which is tragic because it is quite fun and very impressive facial animations.
It's a good thing I've got the rest of the day free.
Boom. But do I? Bold assumption.
Ooh, good question.
Have you only done the story mode, or have you gone online yet and done stuff?
I've only really been able to play like 5 fights.
Gotcha.
But the time that I had was great.
Makes sense. Sam's got a secret superhero draft versus game we're going to play a little bit later.
Oh, there's no superheroes.
Oh. He's got a secret draft versus game we're going to play a little later.
It's a game called In Honor of... You know what? I'll talk about it later. You just wait for it.
That's great teasing. Let him stick around. And, we'll dive back into the Superman saga as well. But first, some headlines, starting with news that Logan almost opened up with that famous scene of Logan killing all of the X-Men. With the black and white version of Logan in theaters for a one-night run this past week to promote the DVD and Blu-ray release this Tuesday, basically, Mangold sat down with some people and said, yep, in the first draft, there was that iconic scene of Logan slaughtering all of the X-Men. But they didn't remove it because of what you think. Not because it was too graphic or because they couldn't get the actors to basically do their parts again. It was more so because he felt it made it more of an X-Men movie and less about Charles and Logan themselves.
I mean, I think what they did with it was really great. So it would have just been, that would have been a really intense moment to see in the beginning of the movie, or if they had put it in the middle of the movie too. I think you could have put those two things there. I think it wouldn't have given the gravity between him and Patrick Stewart as much as it did. So yeah. I actually kind of like the way that they went with this based on like the actors that were in it.
I agree 100%. I think it would have been a mistake to try and, it's like what we talked about. It's the beauty of Logan is the subtlety of it, is that you don't really know what happened. And if you weren't paying attention, you may have missed exactly what have happened. But to show that opening scene, while it would have been cool to see, I agree with them 100%. The fact that it would have been now an X-Men movie, and it would have been what happens to Logan after the X-Men, as opposed to what happens to Logan at the end of his life. Next, Mario Kart is now a reality thanks to Tesla. Tesla has built one of the first electric-powered cars, and now they're doing it with the world's first go-kart. It can go from 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds, and you know what? They didn't even beat around the bush. They basically made it look exactly like the go-kart from Mario.
0 to 60 in 1.6 seconds?
Call Dom Toretto. He wants this.
1.5, yes.
Is that with anybody in the car?
Yes, that makes the Tesla Model S Pod 100D, which took the which they had it at 2.28 seconds. So,
damn,
they are improving.
S Pod 100D. I'm Googling this.
I posted about this in our news stuff.
I don't check anything. I don't believe you.
Sparkling.
This is telling... Nope, that's not what that is. Never mind. Well,
do you get something dirty?
Yes. Well, I just Googled Spod 100.
No. Don't do that.
So I didn't know what it could have been, but now I do. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's out of our price range.
Yes. No actual price range. Oh, no, wait. Here it is. You have $60,000?
Yeah.
Then you can buy it.
Sold. Do you guys want to have $60,000 just lying around for a go-kart?
No. What's the max speed on this thing?
Unlimited.
Good question. It is not said yet. My guess is probably 60.
I would guess it picks up on the, like, it accelerates, you know, like a mag gun kind of, and it just, like, feeds off magnetic energy that it generates, and just, if you can find a straight line, there's no stopping. Yes.
I mean, dude, I love the fact that this thing looks literally like
The cards
a
from
Mario
Mario Kart.
Kart, like almost to a T. In television news, the 13th season of Supernatural is coming this fall, and you know what? This is probably the only show that could get away with it. They're going to cross over with Scooby-Doo, and not the crappy CGI Scooby-Doo that we saw back in the 2000s. No,
There's gold. You shut your mouth.
which one? One or both?
Yes.
That was a multiple choice question you answered with yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I did.
Okay. No, they're going to cross over with the old Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo, complete with animation and all, and it will be a completely animated TV episode. Now, the show has done cartoon imagery before in a season 8 episode, and there's even been a Japanese anime version of the show, which premiered in 2011. So, animation is nothing new for Supernatural, but at what point, and have they hit it, have we jumped the shark? Yes, they've even had an episode named Jumping the Shark, but at what point have we hit when does enough is enough or becomes too outlandish for Supernatural? All right, we had a little bit of a recording snafu with our headlines. So, impromptu Gauntlet, guys. Here we go. Final thoughts on the Supernatural Scooby-Doo crossover.
Sure. Do it.
They've hit the mark every time that they've done one of these so far. Any kind of meta or self-aware mockery of themselves has gone through flawlessly. So you keep doing it until you screw it up.
Yep, just hope the show doesn't actually become too boring going into maybe its 20th season. Who the hell knows how long that'll go. Tom Hardy is Venom. An October 5th, 2018 release date. Quick, go!
He would work, but they need to push this movie back. Otherwise, it won't work.
It won't work at all. I'm concerned with Tom Hardy being too creepy for this. Outside of the Venom costume, I also think that the timeline doesn't work out that this will be a part of this universe. I think this will definitely have to be a completely separate thing for it to work, and that's not what I'm. So, yeah. Strangely into the casting, but also don't like it at all at the same time.
Aquaman photo of Mira looks spot on. Looks exactly like the new 52.
She looks great.
Great casting. Super excited for the Aquaman.
Absolutely. I mean, that's as spot on as you're going to get. It's not an overly complicated costume, but there's subtleties in it that just really, I bet that's going to pop on screen too when it's moving and grooving. Absolutely.
The Flash is looking for its third director for this movie, and the names up for it are Robert Zemeckis, Matthew Vaughn, and Sam Raimi. Any of those three? Do you guys want any of those three, or do you want someone
Matthew
else?
Vaughn or Sam Raimi.
Yeah, the Zemeckis thing just seems like a joke. It's like, oh, time travel, right? Yeah, they can just do that again. I'm very interested to see the other two because those are both pretty solid directors that like to put their stamp on it, specifically Sam Raimi. I think it could be a good opportunity for DC to get back to its, we're directors first kind of thing. It would be a bold choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Hellboy is getting a reboot entitled Hellboy, The Blood Queen. It's based off of the comic book arc Queen of Blood. Aha, see what they did there. It's aiming for 2018 release. It's got Neil Marshall on board to direct and David Harbour from Stranger Things fame as the Hellboy role. Do you miss Ron Perlman? Do you want to see the new one?
I do miss Ron Perlman.
Hellboy movie.
I think every single person that would be excited about a Hellboy movie misses the Ron Perlman. The next casting's pretty good. The forehead fits the mold. But I think it's just kind of shitty for everybody that took part, and there was a beautiful thing that could have shaped up with Hellboy 3, and we'll never get to see it.
I better at least get a Ron Perlman cameo in this one.
Absolutely not, because I'm pretty sure he would just beat him up.
And then become Hellboy.
Yes.
I'd also watch that movie. All right, last one. Black Lightning debuted its trailer. The show filmed in Atlanta, not in Vancouver, making it almost impossible for a 5-way crossover. But don't, I guess, rule anything out. My first thoughts are, I actually like this. It looks like one of the old WB shows in the vein of Birds of Prey, Smallville, or even Arrow Season 1. What are your guys' thoughts on the first look at Black Lightning?
I mean, it looks good, but I don't think they can really do a lot with the character past just 2 seasons. That's why we kind of talked about earlier. I feel like this will be a Static Shock show after like 2 seasons.
That would be kind of an interesting thing, too, to spin into that. But I thought a lot of it was comical because it did seem like an older gentleman with lightning powers beating up street youths who had no powers. So you didn't really see any big bads or anything there. Just kind of an overpowered man stomping on kids.
Much like principals do. All right, that's our impromptu gauntlet. I think we did pretty damn well, but we'll try and do even better next time.
Look! Up in the air! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Three Wise Radio!
It's disappointing.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
All right. Previously on Joe Tells a Superman Story, which, if you remember, was about 18,000 months ago. We've got... I don't know. I don't remember. Because it was so long ago. All I know is Mark Wahlberg is Morgan Edge. Jeremy Piven is Lex Luthor, which is great casting. And I think this is all still from the first movie. Parasite was in the first movie, right? Mm-hmm. And that's Elijah Wood. Oh, we had the introduction of... Did we get to Brainiac yet?
We did in...
He was the computer on Krypton.
Right, played by Kevin James. Intellectual, superior Kevin James. And this was with there's a gang, inner gang, right?
There was inner gang, yes.
Led by Mads Mikkelsen. And they were just doing some dirty stuff. Always one step ahead. Probably because Lex Luthor did it. Told him where to go. Something along those lines. And we introduced Matt Damon as Corbin.
Yeah.
Soon to be Metallo.
He became Metallo.
He became Metallo in this.
That was our second movie.
Indeed. And then they fought. And Superman won because I think we got 18 more of these movies to go through. And that's where we're at.
Real quick, because I don't remember, who did we cast as Mercy? Because we didn't introduce Mercy in the last movie.
We did introduce Mercy. And we'll do a better job on the next one. You can go back to our casts and see which ones were which. But Mercy was played by, the lady from that cowboy movie, that cowboy show, Westworld.
I don't watch that.
Tandy Newton. Thandie Newton.
Thandie Newton, yeah. Actually, because I remember thinking it was really good casting, but I couldn't remember.
You're damn right.
And then to recap, you have Cavill as Superman, Erica Durance as Lois Lane. You have
Do you want me to just go through the whole casting list right now? Pa Kent and Ma Kent or Sean.
Okay, we'll talk when I bring them up. We can.
Okay, and just to remind everybody, these are Joe's 7 Superman movies that he's put together. We're doing them one at a time. However, he gave me a blank list of actors or spots that needed to be filled, not knowing who was cast, and I just made up random names for the casting. So it's kind of a Mad Lib, but with Joe's life's work.
Yeah. And if you want to go back, listen to the first 2 installments. It's episode 62 and 64. So you can go ahead and do that. But anyway, picking up almost about 6 months, again, after the events of the second movie, Morgan Edge, played by the glorious Mark Wahlberg, apparently.
That's good casting.
That is good casting. Is still in jail. Lex Luthor is basically trying to get his image back on the right track because he backed Corbin, and that went horribly wrong. But our after credits scene, if you remember, was Corbin tried to launch a nuclear missile, and Superman threw it into space, and it exploded the Phantom Zone.
Oh, right.
Crashing in. And out of the Phantom Zone came a ship, and when it crash landed, 3 people walked out, one of which is General Zod, played by...
That was played by Jason Statham.
Very correct.
I believe there are other people with him, though.
There are. So, Sam, I need 1 male and 1 female that I gave you very ambiguously last night.
Oh, well, I already cast... If one of them is Fiora, I already cast her a while ago. It was Mila Jovovich.
Yes. Oh!
Yes!
Dude, I forgot about that. Okay, good.
And you needed a man?
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning as Non.
He's been on SNL.
Well, I like it too because sometimes Peyton Manning seems like he could be illiterate, and Non is not a very literate person.
Oh, so you gave me 2 extra names then.
Yes, that's okay. We'll get to those too then.
Okay, because they're... Oh, boy.
I know for sure there is another female coming up here.
Great. So Jason Statham, Mila Jovovich, and actor Peyton Manning from his stints on SNL. That was the biggest stretch we have for the actor category. I apologize.
As an actor or just as a person who can play this role? Because our Kevin James Brainiac's going to play a huge part in this film coming up.
Yeah, he's an actor.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, emerging from the ship, trying to figure out what this planet is, what life is on this planet. Zod and Fiora basically start setting up camp outside of their ship to test the Earth, test the atmosphere, because you crash land on a strange planet. You don't know if you can breathe. You don't know what it is. So they're military people, but Krypton was a scientific planet, so they try and do it in a very scientific way.
And do we know where they landed?
Do we know where they landed?
Yeah.
They land in like the wilderness of America. So it's like Colorado, Montana, somewhere in like the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
West. Because it's a desolate area, Sam. We don't want people discovering them just yet. We'll get to it a little bit later. Anyway, back in Metropolis, we're following around Clark, who's kind of being a little mopey because he's starting to realize that he has some feelings for Lois, but Lois is with Ron. Ron was played by
Jesse Williams from Cabin in the Woods and other shows.
So, Ron Troop. So, they're kind of in this like little pseudo love triangle, and enter I believe I have a female ally that we have yet to debut. Correct?
Let me pull it up. Female ally. Is this in the pretty or old category? Pretty category. We have Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis is playing Cat Grant.
Oh, I should have gone with the other one. All right, continue.
Mila Kunis is playing Cat Grant as the hot new gossip columnist for the Daily Planet, because the Daily Planet's trying to move away from the paper and they're going more TMZ a little bit to Perry White's dismay, who's played brilliantly by George Clooney, of course, throughout these movies. But it's when this happens that there starts to see some sort of seismic tremors over in the western area of the United States. So Superman goes over there as part of, to like see what's going on, and he discovers Zod and Fiora and Non, and is like, "This is weird." Henry
Cavill couldn't have delivered it any better.
Yes. He reaches out to them and tries to like basically figure out who they are. When they reveal they're from Krypton, he is awestruck by this, and they take him into the ship and they show him these 3 orbs. And these 3 orbs are the processing mind of Brainiac. And Brainiac basically zaps. They do like the mind trick where it's like the 3 of them come together and they shine a light on his head, and all of a sudden, mentally, he is on Krypton. He's walking Krypton, and he's seeing Krypton. And we see a lot of what we saw in the first movie to a certain extent, to where Jor-El in his lab in the Arctic, and we see Zod prosecuting the people to be like a well general person. And we go through a lot of this, and then we see some scenes that we hadn't seen before. But we do see the imprisonment of Jaxer and Mala, who blew up the moon in the first one, and were the 2 people on trial at the very beginning of the first movie. We see them, we see the trial, we see all that other stuff, and once that ends, Zod's basically like, "I want to gift these to you. I want you to have these because your father would have wanted you to have them." He's like, "Don't tell anyone we're here just yet. We're still not quite sure what's going on. We want, we would like to try and rebuild Krypton." Superman's a little torn by this because he wants other people like him. He's feeling like the loneliest he has felt throughout this entire time. While after some debating, he goes back to the farm to interact with Ma and Pa Kent, played by
Dame Judi Dench and Sean Connery.
Sir
Yes.
Sean Connery.
Sir Sean Connery.
After some deliberation, they sit there and say, well, son, you have this mineral that we don't know what's hurting you, but we know it's hurting you from the past installment. You finally have some people of your own. And yes, it's a very meta movie. They use the word installment. So they're like, you finally have these people who know you, you need to go reach out to them. So he goes back out there, reaches out to them. They take the orbs and they go to the Arctic, and the Arctic creates the fortress, to where the fortress is Jor-El's traveling lab. So you come to find out what the Brainiac, what the Brain Interactive Construct was doing was creating the lab that we saw in the beginning, which was Jor-El's traveling lab that he could take into the Arctic. And the best place for that was obviously all of that gets done, and through it, we come to find out that Brainiac is actually sabotaging the fortress. So Brainiac is building the fortress and making everything look nice and neat, but what he's doing is he's setting up booby traps at the same time. While he's doing this, though, we see an incubator in the fortress start to glow. We're not sure what it is.
Classic Kevin James.
Um,
You're so upset about that casting.
or is it Kevin James?
It is.
Brainiac. So that's all going on. Once this happens, Zod and all them convince Superman to reveal himself to the people. Not reveal him who he is, but basically they're now going to come out and say, hey, we're here. There are others like us. They do this. Luthor is right away up in arms. And I told you there were others coming. See, this is what's happening. This is what we need to stop. I have a way to stop this. Because remember, at the end, we had the very great scene where he has the ring, and he's like, you're going to kneel to me. Superman warns Zod of said kryptonite. And by sneaky, but they also know that it's radiation. So Zod educates Superman into what is happening with this. And we get old man scientist. I believe there's an old man friend on your list, Sam.
Old man friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that would be Donald Sutherland.
I like this casting. Donald Sutherland plays Dr. Emil Hamilton. So the three of them get this scientist, Dr. Emil Hamilton, to basically create the lead version suits that we see in the animated series to a certain extent, as a good nod to the animated series. And they go in, they take the ring from Luthor, they strip Luthor of his powers, basically, of the kryptonite. And as we see this, and we see the fortress starting to form, it is in this moment that Zod turns to him and is like, we can rule the planet. We now have the ability to take everything that we've wanted and rule it from sea to shining sea, the entire Earth, whatever. Let's take over the world. Superman's like, nah, that's not what this is all about. I'm here to try and help people. I'm here to try and protect people. Well, Zod tells me he really doesn't have much of a choice. The fortress imprisons Superman, thanks to Brainiac. And Zod, Fiora, and Nan go out and start to try and take over the Earth. The glowing thing that we think is going to be Zod, is going to be a body for Brainiac, which is what we're trying to tease the entire time, turns out not to be a body of Brainiac. So, Sam, I gave you the movie number 7. There are 4 people. We're going to introduce one early.
I do not. I have 3 people.
You should have, for movie 7, you should have. Oh, you're right, because I'm talking about. I can't remember when I wanted to introduce him. So we're gonna do a wild card here, because I can't remember where I actually had this guy introduced on your paper.
Excellent.
Out of your cast of people, who would you want to play the Eradicator?
None of them. These choices are not the best. Gary, you tell me 1, 2, or 3. Ice Cube it is.
I could get behind that.
All right, mark it down.
So the Eradicator breaks out, and he's like, my job is to preserve all life on Krypton.
As Ice Cube.
As Ice Cube, yes. I'm getting like a Rick and Morty iced tea version from this instead of the Ice Cube. But anyway, so he's like, my job is to preserve all life on Krypton, breaks out Superman, and then tells him, you have allies. Like, I can't fight with you, but there are allies that are in the Phantom Zone that you don't know about. And he points to Jaxor and Mala, the two scientists that were imprisoned in the very beginning of the movie.
Okay.
We didn't cast really anyone on Krypton, so
We did not know. Correct.
that we're leaving
These
ambiguous.
people.
Yes. Who could be up and newcomers by this time. We don't know. So those three and Zod, Nan, Fiora end up fighting. They imprison them by sucking them back into the Phantom Zone. But right before they do that, they discover that there is an entire race of Kryptonians still within the Phantom Zone. That Zod's ship was just one little part of this bigger city that was sucked up into the Phantom Zone.
What city was that?
Of course, it was the city of Kandor.
Shocker.
Exactly. So Superman has the fortress that's been kind of now is done by the Eradicator. So you get kind of a, you know how you had the Ultron Vision fight from Age of Ultron that was like mechanical
Mm-hmm.
for a very short, brief period of time
Yeah.
where you didn't see him? Here you would actually see the Eradicator and Brainiac fighting within the computer during the big battle. So you have the three Kryptonians and Superman, Jaxor, and Mala fighting Zod, Nan, and Fiora, and then you've got Brainiac and
Kevin James and Ice Cube.
you have Kevin James and Ice Cube fighting inside the computer. Needless to say, the good guys win, and it looks like everything's fine. But I want to leave you with this. This is where the Krypton trilogy is over, and this is where we're headed. You have Luthor, who is demolished, who swearing revenge on Superman. And we saw and teased Bizarro in the last film. So there's a possibility that you may see Luthor in a future film want a version that could destroy Superman. Also, you have the fortress now built, and it is now protected, and it is in the voice of the Eradicator, who is now the operating system of
Of the fortress.
Right.
and this is all leading up into the next film, Man of Tomorrow.
And this last one was called Last Son of Krypton.
Correct.
All right. Well, there we have it. Thank you for another brilliant edition of Joe Tells the Superman, whatever we're calling this. I think we do a different one every time. We'll try and bring it back a little sooner next time, and maybe I'll be a little more fluid with what actually happened.
That's part of the magic.
It's unlikely. All right.
Let's see. I've been working on my diction, so let's give this a shot. Three wise. No.
Three Wise Radio.
I guess I'm just kind of taking this one over. In honor of Injustice, a game of people battling each other, versing each other, as well as the new Alien movie coming out, which is still tainted by the existence of Alien vs. Predator, although I argue those are fantastic movies, as well as Joe being on Movie Versus this coming week,
Yeah.
we are going to be doing a segment about versus.
Okay.
A segment entitled The Versus to End All Versus, Joe versus Garret Edition.
All right.
Obviously.
When Sam's in charge, I feel like Garrett and I always head in like a death battle every time.
Yes, because it's
Okay.
a versus.
But this is the versus to end all versus.
The Joe versus Garret Edition.
Oh, okay. So this is the last time that Garrett and I will ever verse each other.
Oh,
Because
absolutely not.
Oh.
How many final chapters have you watched that have not, in fact, been the final chapters? Versus.
Touche.
Enough.
So what I have done is I have taken 5 of the most popular, arguably, movies with versus in the title. We will be doing a draft-style lottery where you will pick which one you want to be on your team, and then we will discuss which one would win in single combat. And then at the end of the 5 rounds, we will put your master teams together to see who would win the ultimate versus battle.
Ooh.
Does
All
this make sense?
Yes.
yes.
Been crafting this segment for a long time. 20 minutes. So here we go. I have, however, as we all know, one of my favorite movies of all time, Ballistic X vs. Sever, has not been included because
shit.
they're such an even draw, Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu, that there's no point in splitting them up.
So, real quick to clarify, do we get, when we have the verses and we draft the verses, do we get both people on that verses?
No, so one of you will be picking one of the verses, and the other person will get the other side. So in
Got it.
terms of first pick, who won our last battle? I can't remember what we did last time.
I think I did when we had the three-way battle.
Oh, yes, because you just picked all the overpowered people. And you
Yeah,
were
the danger room would have been the last battle.
incredibly boring. So because of that, Joe, I'm going to let you determine if you would like first pick or second pick. So for the first round, you would get first choice of person or thing.
I'm going to take first pick because I would get first pick 3 times to his 2.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right, strategy. So first up we have, in the horror category, classic Freddy versus Jason. Freddy Krueger, Dream Killer, Jason, just overall zombie death machine. Joe, you will get first pick. Also, has anyone seen this movie?
Oh, yes. I saw it in
This
theater.
is a
been a long time.
fantastic movie.
Yes, it is.
It's
the last film I snuck into when I was underage and could not get into a rated R movie.
I think we've talked about this before. My father brought me into this movie.
I'm going to take Jason on this.
Any reason why?
Because when you get Jason, you get more than sometimes just Jason. But it is encompassing.
What's the package deal?
It's encompassing all of Jason's powers and who Jason is as a person. But when you pick Jason, I feel like you get more than just Jason. Because more than just Jason has been the serial killer known as Jason in these films.
Okay.
2 other people at least.
So you're holding on to the potential that you may also get the imposter Jason as well as Jason's mom at some point in the battle?
Yep.
Okay. Neither of those people would stand a chance against Freddy, but all right. Garrett, any problems with Freddy?
I don't really know anything about his power set, so.
He, when you fall asleep, if you are afraid of him or aware of his presence, he can haunt you in the dream world, and anything that he does to you in the dream world is inflicted upon you in reality. If you are grabbing him when you wake up, you will pull him out of your reality.
Does Jason sleep, though?
Jason can be put to sleep, yes. Otherwise, they would have never fought.
We need to show him this movie.
This is a great movie. This is a.
I've seen this movie, but I remember nothing about it.
And towards the end, Freddy miraculously learns kung fu outside of the dream world. So we'll see how that goes. So you will have Freddy Krueger, and let's remember that Jason did win that battle, but he sort of didn't because Freddy can't die. They never made a sequel though. Anywho,
Trying to.
so now we will have Garrett with the first pick. Garrett, we will be looking at the classic film King Kong vs. Godzilla in the adventure kaiju category. We're getting not the new ones, we're getting old school King Kong Godzilla, similar sizes. King Kong, a more intellectual fighter, Godzilla, atomic fire breath.
Which, if you heard the show, is usually a trump card when we're talking about Godzilla.
It's called range. Has anyone seen this original movie?
I have not.
I've seen the fight. I've never seen the actual movie.
Interesting enough. I feel like these are movies that I've talked about a bunch of times. American ending, King Kong wins. Japanese ending, Godzilla wins. So it's a total draw as to who wins.
I think I'm going to go with Godzilla.
Yeah, damn right you are. And why is that? Because of the atomic fire breath?
No, I just feel like Godzilla's got more power behind him. With the atomic fire breath, yes. But just overall is more of a powerhouse.
I don't know why, but for some reason, when I'm writing down the categories for Joe for you, I just wrote gorilla.
I think we'll
I
remember
should
who it is.
specify the size and magnitude of said gorilla. Joe, any problems with having a King Kong on your side? Think he gives you an advantage?
I don't think he gives me a disadvantage. It's not my favorite version of King Kong by far because this one's not as mobile. And he's very clunky. But so is that version of Godzilla. So I like my chances.
Both men in suits, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
Funny enough, the men in suits will be for Joe. Jason Voorhees will be in the King Kong suit, and Freddy will be in the Godzilla suit. That's not true.
I feel like that's your verse.
Next up,
It's getting real meta here.
Next up is another classic horror. We've got because of what's coming out this week, Alien versus Predator. And this is an alien and a predator. Singular. Joe, this one goes to you. Again, this movie's great.
This movie was awesome.
I have not seen these movies.
Neither of them. The first one's pretty good. They're in the Arctic or Antarctic, same thing. The second one's not so great, but there is a pred alien in that one.
Gotcha. So I have heard that. I've seen the first 2 Aliens. I've seen the first 2 Predators. But
Choose wisely, Joe.
I know this one actually is very tough. I'm probably going to go with Predator because it would know how to hunt and have military-esque skills. So maybe the Predator could coordinate Jason and King Kong. Kind of general.
So is he being elected your general?
I got to see who my other 2 choices are, but right now he's the front runner of the 3.
Fair enough. Right. I would also have picked him because he can shoot laser balls out of his laser gun, which is a nice advantage. Garrett, so you've got Alien, the xenomorph.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
How do you feel about a Godzilla xenomorph?
Oh, see, that's the thing is there's not a chest burster, so he doesn't have a way to infect. So he cannot infect. But I like where your head's at.
What if he's born from Godzilla?
Like, I don't think you get to call those trumps. Then you win.
All right, then. All right.
All right. Two more. Next up, we have we're dividing it up a little bit. We're getting away from it a little bit. In this one, we have Joe versus the volcano. So is anyone familiar with this movie?
Is that a Tom Hanks movie?
This is a Tom Hanks movie playing a hypochondriac who finds out that he has a terrible disease. And an interesting man asks him, you know what, I actually would like for you to jump in this volcano and kill yourself. And it helps me out too. So would you like hypochondriac Tom Hanks or a volcano?
I know my choice, Garrett, so choose wisely.
You have the wit, humor, and charm, although temporary, of a sick Tom Hanks, hypochondriac yet with a debilitating disease, or the power of an active volcano.
What is this disease?
It just says oh Lord, I did watch this movie when I was younger, but I don't remember what. It was just something the doctor's like.
Probably shouldn't be.
Yeah,
in
you're not going to be along. No, the doctor doesn't give him the offer. It's like some crazy Willy Wonka type business,man, I think.
But I mean, it's like it's a disease.
The
it's like
doctor's
you probably shouldn't be.
You're not long for this world. Or the power of an active volcano. However, it is not sentient.
Pele demands sacrifice, so I'm going to choose that volcano.
Okay. Garrett takes the volcano. Joe?
I like my Tom Hanks.
What do you think he's going to... How's the Predator going to lead Tom Hanks into battle?
He's not. He's going to use him as a good distraction, and Tom Hanks is going to believe him because he's got debilitating brain disease.
You just assume he gets a brain disease?
Yeah, isn't that why he's going crazy?
I don't think he's going...
No, he's just a hypochondriac.
Is he going crazy? I don't remember this movie at all.
I don't know.
I still like my Tom Hanks decoy.
Okay, excellent. All right, and the game changer that we have, I'd save the best for last. The People versus Larry Flynn.
Do I actually get a lot of people?
The People is a full courtroom. And then Larry Flynn, the publisher and head of, what is it? Not Playboy. What's the other one?
Penthouse.
Penthouse.
Oh, I'm taking the courtroom full of people as opposed to like the decrepit man who's a horny guy in a wheelchair.
That is an accurate depiction.
I'm taking the courtroom full of people.
Courtroom. Garrett, you've been given Larry
screwed on this.
Larry Flynn. Okay, boys. And
It's your general, by the way.
what's that?
If I was Garrett, I'd use him as my general.
Larry Flynn.
Yeah.
Please, whoever I damn well please.
All
Joseph.
right, guys.
Okay.
So this is so dumb. So what we're looking at here, Joe, we've got your General Predator leading Jason Voorhees, King Kong, Tom Hanks, and a courtroom full of people against Garrett. Who's your general?
I guess Larry Flynn.
Good old Ironsides. Larry Flynn going into battle with Freddy Krueger, Godzilla, single xenomorph, and an active volcano. It's going to be a pretty aggressive downhill roll into battle. Go get it, boys.
Actually,
I'm tapping out.
I'm pretty sure I've got this one in the bag.
Please, guys, fight amongst yourselves.
Yes, do
versus each
explain.
other.
You have it in the bag. Do explain.
Clearly, again, the setting is an active volcano.
So I'm fighting on one of his participants.
It's the only way we can make it work.
Okay.
We're in Hawaii,
Okay.
and my active volcano is here on Hawaii.
It would have to be.
Yeah. Oh man. So we're doing one-on-ones first, right?
No, this is just.
There's a team.
This is
okay.
it. This is a Civil War 5 versus 5 in the parking lot scenario.
All right. Well, obviously we've got King Kong and Godzilla duking it out. Like, there are big kaiju's. They're gonna go against each other.
Is that a direct order from Larry Flynn?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See. Gotta be quick on your feet, boys.
Oh no, Tom Hanks is going to go up against Larry Flint at first, just because we need him to do something, and I feel like that battle could be very, very comical.
How does Tom Hanks get to Larry Flynn?
He walks over to him. I mean,
There's a little
one
bit of
person
stuff in the way.
can- There's a what?
There's some stuff in the way.
Just the actual volcano. So, because I've already got obviously you go Xenomorph versus Predator. You go.
Do I?
What?
Do I?
I don't know. Your Predator's pretty busy commanding the rest of the troops. That was a smart move by Garrett making Larry Flynn the general, because he can't really do anything else.
I'm going to. I don't know why he finds it so funny. He is dying. Like, he is shaking. He's laughing so hard.
Gold.
So you can't even see him anymore. So basically, I would take Predator and go against the Xenomorph just to buy some time. I have
So who's
a.
commanding the rest of your troops?
But you act like a person can't tell you what to do at the same time while fighting.
That's
It has
actually
to be all
a pretty
the time.
difficult thing to do. To have full battlefield control, you know.
While fighting a xenomorph.
Yeah.
The perfect specimen.
I mean, full battlefield control is a loose terminology. He
Well,
is just coming up.
battlefield awareness. Then
He is the game plan of. He's the one telling people what to do before the actual battle starts.
in what language?
Is predatory language?
Mm-hmm.
No, remember, he can take over people's voices and mimic voices. So he can mimic all of Larry Flynn's commands.
Oh shit! There's a very good battle here somewhere. But
I'm trying to bring it out.
But basically, I feel like my only chance of winning is if I can get Godzilla to somehow fall into the volcano, therefore creating an atomic reaction that neutralizes everybody, including the volcano, because at the end of the day, I can't destroy all his participants because I'm fighting on one of them.
Well, you could... Yeah. So you're saying that you're just going for an even split 50-50.
Yes.
Everybody dies.
I mean, Tom Hanks was going there to die anyway, and the people there are basically, I guess, the people who live on the island now. It's my courtroom full of people. So
What are they doing?
They're
a
probably
good
a
question.
sacrificial cult.
Huh?
They're probably a sacrificial cult at this point. Who knows? I just like my strength in numbers. I mean, the people are going to go after Larry Flint as well because that's what they're programmed to do, apparently.
Question.
Yes,
Can Freddy Krueger be affecting multiple people at once?
if they're asleep.
Yes.
Okay, well, I've got a whole town full of people that are going to be asleep at nighttime now. So
You're assuming the battle goes this long, sir. This is going to be a quick thing. This is not a battle that lasts 12 hours. This battle lasts
theoretically, would he also be able to? Would there also be able to be 12 versions of Freddy if they all pull him out of their dreams? Question mark?
No, I don't think so. But when you do pull Freddy out of the dream world, he loses his powers. So he's just a man with knife fingers
That can't die.
that
gotta
sometimes
figure out-
knows kung fu.
You've got to figure out a way to put me to sleep, or else you have a person who's just inactive on this playing field as well.
Usually, when they put Jason to sleep, they pump him with a ton of sedatives and knock him out, like a lot.
So you got Larry, kind of guess, hunting Jason.
No,
He's the only one who could operate the trank gun. Godzilla's not going to be able to hold it.
that's not true.
Does Jason need to breathe?
No.
Yeah, sometimes. He's a bit of an enigma.
Didn't in space. He didn't underwater.
I mean, he lived underwater. He also died underwater. That's how he kind of came forth.
Yeah.
Definitely a couple wild cards there.
I'm calling it, man. Straight draw. Unless Godzilla kills everyone.
Which is possible.
It's very possible. I'm telling you, King Kong needs to throw Godzilla into that volcano to neutralize everything.
So are we just calling this an even split, Garret?
I'm so lost because I don't know what half these people are capable of.
Larry Flint is capable of cursing obscenities and getting women to take their clothes off in very provocative situations.
So he could use that courtroom to his advantage. Distract Tom Hanks. See, there's ways you could go about this. Larry Flynn, running a little long on this. Larry Flynn gets some of the ladies in the courtroom distracted enough to take off their clothes. That triggers Jason to start killing his own team because Jason hates nudity. Boy, does he. So that could turn Jason onto your side, which means now you're fighting not just a 5v4. Now you're almost in a 4v3 because Jason and the courtroom have been neutralized because they're running from him as he's killing them for their nudity.
But I feel like I take down Larry Flint in that version as well.
I'll
Because
accept it.
the
Tom Hanks will also be distracted by the wheelchair, or not the wheelchair, Larry Flint, by the naked ladies, making him rethink
but
himself.
He's such a hypochondriac that I feel like he's the nice guy who survives the horror movie. So Jason doesn't really touch his own teammate there.
Oh, I'm not saying he would kill him. I'm saying that he would be distracted by the naked ladies.
Ah,
Clearly, there's a million ways this could go.
How are you getting rid of Larry Flynn there?
He was gonna have Tom Hanks go up to him.
As we stated before, Larry Flynn's probably the most capable of using a trank gun.
When did he get a trank gun?
When you gave me the idea earlier to trank up Jason. So he just pumps Tom Hanks full of enough sedatives to kill him.
okay.
So there goes Tom Hanks.
But did he run out of ammo now? Absolutely, of course not.
Of course he did.
not. Why
Of
would-
course he did, but he played his part. That's all he needed.
So in this scenario, we now have Freddy still completely pointless. Jason killing the courtroom for being naked. Larry Flynn has spent his whole load of trank guns to kill Tom Hanks.
There's a joke there. somewhere.
Meanwhile, yes, there is. Meanwhile, King Kong and Godzilla are punching each other. Predator and Alien are punching each other. And the volcano is just still active.
Yep.
All right.
So Jason's going to end up killing all my courtroom people, but he's also going to end up killing Larry Flint in the process.
Okay.
So once he's done with that, he is then going to move over to the Xenomorph, and I feel the combined power of Jason with Predator can take down a Xenomorph.
That's fair.
I'll agree with that. Okay.
Who kills him, though? And this is a trivia question for you. Who kills the alien? Is it Jason or is it Predator?
So it's a twofer. So when the inner mouth is coming out, Jason has the machete and slices that off.
Okay, what happens to that acid blood?
Because it's going to go over Jason, but Jason's fine because Jason's just getting burned down, like he's a voodoo doll technically, like he can't die. So Jason's got like
a machete though.
Yeah, but he got the machete's gone, but that's all happening. While that's happening behind him, the Predator basically shoots up the entire Xenomorph.
Okay. All right, so I'll give you that. I'll say that Jason does become incapacitated, though, after this, because that acid blood, he can be incapacitated. And I'll say the acid blood wears through him, cuts him in half or whatever, and he just kind of sits there upset.
Wiggling his like arm on the ground.
So we have Predator and King Kong versus Godzilla, a still asleep Freddy Krueger, and an active volcano.
I would argue that being incapacitated is the same as being asleep, as being knocked out. So
dead is being. So you have Freddy double killing my people? That doesn't help.
It's complicated.
I didn't say Jason was dead. I just said he was incapacitated.
Okay.
Incapacitated could mean knocked out. So he could have gone into shock. You don't know. You don't know how Jason works.
Oh, no one does.
Exactly.
The writers of them do not know how he works.
So I have now Predator and King Kong on Godzilla.
And a volcano.
And an active volcano.
Predator using his invisible technology to lure Godzilla to volcano and throw him in the volcano.
Wait.
To the volcano.
Wait. So Predator goes invisible to distract Godzilla by becoming unable to be seen. That distracts Godzilla to run to the volcano, ignoring the giant ape he's in combat with.
Yep.
So that the Predator can throw him into the
Why
volcano.
is the Predator invisible if he wants to be a distraction?
Because he's going to see things moving and wondering why things are moving or why things are happening that he can't see.
I don't think Godzilla's going to be focused with that.
I would argue King Kong would be more distracted by that.
Then that's fine. He's luring the thing that he's fighting, and they both fall in. And I still have Predator. And now, mission accomplished. If I get the atomic breath into the hole of the volcano, the island is gone, and no one is there still.
All right, this is how I determine this ends.
Does Godzilla work like an atomic reactor, or does he just have atomic breath?
Again, it's complicated, but it's an atomic reaction.
Yeah.
There's a lot. All right, so here's how this ends, and I'll go ahead and lay it down for you. So at the end of this, we'll go with that. They've been chucked into the active volcano. Either A, the volcano goes off, killing Predator, thus Garret wins because volcano is still active. Or B, Predator, for some reason to defeat said volcano because he is a noble warrior, activates his explosive device, jumps into the volcano as it explodes, sealing it shut, deactivating the volcano, at which point it is a draw.
I'll also still give Garrett the actual thing if he can argue Freddy living and being a part of this contest without actually ever participating.
Well,
He was participating. He was re-killing an already incapacitated Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
I mean, aside from the fact that that Freddy can't die, like he exists in this dream world.
But Freddy can die. This is so dumb. Freddy can die, sort of, if everyone forgets that he exists, because it's the fear of him that brings him back. So if everybody on the island's dead, they forget that he exists, he disappears.
Yeah, it's a draw.
All right, I'm giving it's a solid draw. Who would have thought that the versus to end all versus Joe vs. Garret edition ends in a draw?
Almost like these movies.
Yep.
If an episode of Three Wise Radio is coming to a close, it must be piquing your interest. And as usual, we just say what's piquing our interest. Garrett, what's piquing your interest this week?
What's piquing my interest this week, Joe, is that I'm getting ready to start up a new D&D campaign with some of my coworkers, and We're playing 5th edition as opposed to 3.5 edition, which is what I usually play. And it's It's really interesting. It's just a lot more. It's streamlined in a lot of places where it should have been, but it still leaves a lot of room for like personalization and stuff. And we haven't started yet, but it's really enjoying creating my character right now. So
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Yes. Good. Sam, what's piquing your interest this week?
That. Also, so I was going to go rewatching the Alien movies for this upcoming film that's coming out, but for some reason, where I usually get my movies from, wasn't able to get those. So instead, I went to an archaic technology and pulled out my Blu-ray player, which honestly, I haven't put a DVD or a Blu-ray in something in a long time. I was like, I shouldn't be as bothered by this as I am.
was it cathartic?
It was just a mild inconvenience. But I watched Cabin in the Woods, and I remembered how that is still probably in my top 5 of favorite movies. That is an absolutely fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend seeing it.
The original one or the new one?
Not Evil Dead, Cabin in the Woods.
Oh.
The Joss Whedon vehicle.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, and for some reason, I don't know why, I just was flipping through and I saw it and was like, I haven't seen this in a while, let's do this. And oh man, that's an amazing, hilarious movie.
It is. That it is. What's piquing my interest this week is the world of music. What is the song that you guys have listened to the longest? Or maybe the song that you know of that's been around the longest in popularity, as far as like people, you hear it on the radio still to this day, nonstop on popular radio. You know, people are constantly downloading it, stuff like that. What's the longest song you guys can think of?
Britney Spears' Toxic. You're talking like pop music or just like rock and roll music?
In general music.
Classic rock?
Just in general, because I have a story here that's piquing my interest.
Stairway
The
to
Killers' Mr. Brightside debuted in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
It is still, this current week, at this very moment, number 93 on the UK's top 100 charts. It has been on the charts for 166 times since 2003, and just last year was the number 90th song of the year and was a top 50 single so far in 2017.
Damn.
It spent 35 weeks of last year in the top 100.
That's impressive.
For a little-known song that is, at this point, almost 15 years old.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I never got into the Killers. I'm sure they're fine.
It's from their original album, Hot Fuzz, which is their best one, by far. That album is great, and then it kind of starts to go downhill after that. But, yeah. And I know, Sam, you love that video because it stars music video thespian extraordinaire, Eric Roberts.
He is a blessing to us all. For sure. Wonder what he's doing lately. Well, that's interesting. That's pretty cool.
So that's what's piquing my interest this week. However, we want to know what's piquing your guys' interest, because next week we have a special guest on, don't we, Garrett?
Yeah, we do. We have our featured cosplayer of the month, Jay Bryant, MC Iron Man, sorry, will be on the show next week. So stay tuned for that.
So please email in your questions for him, whether it's any cosplay question or anything like that, and we'll address it on next week's show. And if you want to know how you can get your questions to us, there's many different ways you can do so. You can email us at 3wiseradio@gmail.com. You can hashtag us on Twitter at 3wiseradio, or you can even comment on one of many of our J photos we've been posting on Instagram every Friday. If you have a question, post it on one of those photos. We are at 3wiseradio on Instagram also. Or you can even just look us up on Facebook at 3Wise Media. Get your questions out there. We'll get them answered. And we will see you next week.
3 Wise Radio is a production of 3 Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.